For most of the 1900s, these saws were in almost every workshop. But today, you almost never see them anymore. So if they were so popular for such a long time, why are they disappearing? To find out, today we're taking a deep dive into this original 1937 Delta handbook called Getting the Most Out of Your Bandsaw and Scroll Saw. The fact that this booklet covers both of these machines together in one handbook tells you something right away. Delta viewed these two machines as a team. Complementary tools. One did what the other couldn't. The bandsaw might be the most capable cutting tool in your entire shop. There's almost nothing this machine can't do. But there's one specific type of cut that a bandsaw can't handle. And that's why, for around 100 years, that one limitation meant that nearly every workshop had to own a completely separate machine just to cover it. But before we get into scroll saws, let's first take a quick look at the bandsaw to understand what makes them so great, but also where their limitations are. The bandsaw is one of those tools that earns its floor space 10 times over. From ripping, resawing, cross-cutting, bevel cuts, circle cutting with a simple pivot jig, pattern sawing duplicate parts, cutting curves freehand, or against a fence, the bandsaw handles it all. Swap in a narrow blade, and you can follow almost any line you can draw. Swap in a wide blade, and you can resaw thick lumber into book-match panels. And combined with the right jigs, you can make virtually any cut, and do it in a way that is repeatable for production work. Taper jigs let you cut consistent leg tapers on every piece without measuring twice. A simple pivot block substitutes for a fence and lets you rip curved work to a uniform width. Roller supports built from standard lumber handle long stock in a one-man shop. And this machine wasn't just limited to cutting wood. With the right blade and speed, it could cut steel, brass, aluminum, and even plastic. Later in the appendix of this booklet, Delta even includes a chart covering blade selection for everything from cast iron to bakelite to radiator cores. This was not a machine people bought to make one kind of thing. It was the engine at the center of the workshop. But what really sets the bandsaw apart is what it can do with compound cuts. Delta dedicates several pages to compound bandsawing, the technique of cutting a piece of stock from two or more adjacent faces. The Cabriole leg is the example they keep coming back to, and for good reason. You lay a curved pattern on two adjoining faces of a square blank, make the first set of cuts, tack the waist pieces back in place so you have flat reference faces again, rotate the blank 90 degrees, and then make the second set of cuts. What comes off the saw looks rough and blocky, but after a few passes with a spoke shave, you have a fully formed Queen Anne leg, the kind of curved, sculpted furniture component that looks like it should have taken days to carve by hand. The book also shows compound sawed turnings, where a blank is rough-shaped on the bandsaw into an approximate sphere before it ever even touches the lathe, cutting the turning time in half. From ornamental finials to post tops to bracket feet, the bandsaw roughs all of it out with a speed and repeatability that hand tools simply cannot match. And yet, for all of that, there was one job the bandsaw fundamentally could not do. And Delta and the craftsmen using these machines knew it. The bandsaw blade is a continuous loop, so the only way to make a cut in a workpiece is by the blade entering and exiting through an outside edge of the material. That's the only way it can work, which means the moment you need to cut a shape that starts in the middle of a panel, a pierced decorative opening, an inlaid cutout, a fretwork design that never touches the perimeter of the board, the bandsaw couldn't handle the job. And that single gap in the bandsaw's capability is exactly what this other machine was built to fill. Which brings us to Chapter 5 of this handbook, the scroll saw. This is the machine that is quietly vanishing from the American workshop. Look at this massive 24-inch capacity Delta scroll saw. In the 1930s, this was a masterpiece of engineering. Delta explains the heart of the machine, an ingenious mechanical crankshaft that converts the round and round motion of the motor into the up and down stroke of the blade, perfectly precision balanced to run at high speeds without vibrating your teeth out. It had a universal guide, special chucks for gripping everything from heavy saber blades down to hair-thin jeweler's blades, and an adjustable tension sleeve. This machine was designed for a very specific era of craftsmanship. It was built for a time when intricate fretwork, delicate veneer inlays, and detailed works such as highly ornate wooden clocks were the pinnacle of the hobby. The scroll saw had one absolute superpower that the bandsaw could never touch: the blind inside cut. If you drill a hole in a piece of wood, unhook the scroll saw blade, thread it through the hole, and re-chuck it, you can cut out the center of a board without ever breaking the outside edge. This is known as pierced work, and for decades, the scroll saw was the only automated way to do it. But solving the problem of the blind inside cut wasn't the only reason this massive 24-inch Delta scroll saw earned its place on the bench. Because it was engineered to run extremely thin blades, it allowed a craftsman to turn incredibly sharp corners and execute the kind of intricate filigree that even the thinnest bandsaw blade would instantly destroy. That paper-thin kerf meant virtually zero material was wasted, which was absolutely critical when slicing out delicate, tight-fitting veneers for fine inlay work. The cut itself was remarkably smooth, often eliminating the need for tedious hand sanding altogether. And despite its imposing cast iron frame, it offered a level of superior safety and control that you simply couldn't get while wrestling tiny, fragile parts across the table of a roaring bandsaw. The slow and concentrated movement of the blade meant you could pull up a seat right at the flat table, guiding the smallest pieces of wood with absolute microscopic precision. So, if it was so capable, what happened? Why don't we have these sitting next to our table saws anymore? The answer is right here in these final pages. Look at the projects Delta is showcasing: intricate paper cutouts, elaborate jigsaw puzzles, and raised wooden letters for ornate signs. The truth is, the tools didn't fail us. We changed. The kind of work that most people do in their home workshops shifted. As the decades went on, the popularity of highly decorative, intricate fretwork used in furniture had faded. Furniture design moved toward mid-century modern and shaker styles: clean lines, sharp angles, and subtle curves. Suddenly, that massive 24-inch scroll saw was taking up a lot of valuable real estate in a shop just to gather dust. Woodworkers realized that the bandsaw could handle 95% of their detailed cuts. And for that rare occasion where they actually needed to do a blind inside cut, they didn't need a heavy cast iron machine. They just drilled a hole and used a simple handheld coping saw. And although there are still hobbyists out there that use these tools, there was a final nail in the coffin for the scroll saw as a production tool. For the people today who actually do want to produce highly intricate designs or custom lettering, for the most part, unless they're just doing it for the love of woodworking with their hands, they aren't going out and buying a scroll saw. For nearly the same price as a high-end modern scroll saw, you can now buy a small footprint desktop CNC machine. You program the design on a laptop, hit a button, and the router carves out a flawless blind inside cut while you go drink a cup of coffee. It requires almost zero manual hand-eye coordination. The modern world has engineered the patience right out of the process. Flipping through this manual is a bittersweet experience. It's a time capsule from an era where your ability to follow a pencil line with a hair-thin steel blade was the ultimate measure of your skill. The scroll saw might be disappearing from the modern shop, but for those of us who still respect the old tools, the legacy of what they built will always command respect. If you still have an old scroll saw in your shop, let me know in the comments what you're currently using it for. Does it still earn its keep, or is it just collecting dust? Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing for more vintage tool history posted every week. And let me know if there's another vintage tool catalog that you would like to see featured next.